Imagine a landscape of bone-dry limestone scorched by the Mediterranean sun. Here, on the Siou Blanc plateau of southern France, water is more than a resource. It is the difference between life and death. For centuries, we have been told a specific story about the people who first walked these hills. We are told they were primitive. We are told they were superstitious. We are told that their greatest works were built for gods or for war, but never for the simple practical necessity of survival. But high above the village of Evenos, there is a structure that defies this narrative. It is a massive, silent machine of stone. It does not look like a temple, and it does not look like a fort. It looks like an impossibility. This is a work of engineering so sophisticated, so ambitious, and so practical that modern science has struggled to accept its true age. Because if this structure is as old as the stones suggest, then everything we think we know about the intelligence of our ancestors is wrong. The plateau of Siou Blanc is a karstic wilderness. The rock is porous, and the rain that falls here vanishes almost instantly into deep underground caverns. To live here, you must master the rain. Throughout the Mediterranean, ancient civilizations developed the Impluvium, a sunken basin designed to catch and store every drop of runoff. We see them in the grand villas of Rome and the courtyards of Greece, but those were the works of empires. They were built with the wealth of nations and the oversight of architects. The history of water management is usually written as a story of progress, moving from simple holes in the ground to the complex aqueducts of the classical world. We assume that before the rise of kings and central governments, humanity lacked the organization to build infrastructure on a grand scale. We assume that primitive means unskilled. This brings us to the Impluvium d'Orve. At an altitude of 660 meters, it sits as a monumental challenge to our modern prejudices. At first glance, it looks like a prehistoric tomb, a gigantic dolmen, or a Neolithic allée couverte. Massive horizontal limestone slabs rest on imposing vertical pillars, creating a sheltered chamber that feels ancient and eternal. But this is not a tomb. It is a high-capacity rainwater harvesting system. It is an éguier, a covered cistern designed to channel runoff from a natural sloping limestone slab into a subterranean storage tank. The scale is staggering. This single structure can hold more than 60,000 liters of water. It is larger, more complex, and more ambitious than almost any other stone cistern in the larger region. And yet, despite its brilliance, it remains an enigma. The engineering of the Impluvium d'Orves is a masterclass in dry stone construction. The roof is designed to protect the stored water from the brutal heat of the sun, preventing evaporation and keeping the supply cool and pure. Surrounding the site are perimeter walls built in a distinct fishbone pattern, a technique used to keep livestock away from the precious resource. The mystery lies in its date. There are no inscriptions here. There are no coins or pottery shards to provide a convenient timeline. Because the structure is so functional and so well engineered, many historians have reflexively attributed it to the 17th or 18th century, linking it to the prominent Destienne d'Orve family. They argue that Neolithic people simply were not smart enough to conceive of such a work. However, the surrounding landscape is saturated with prehistoric life. There are Neolithic habitats, Bronze Age ossuaries, and ancient rock art scattered across these same hills. The techniques used at the Impluvium, the megalithic slabs, and the dry stone masonry are the same methods used 5,000 years ago. We are told it cannot be that old because it is too smart. We are told it must be recent because it is too practical. This is the ritual cop-out, the tendency to label any ancient mystery as religious because we refuse to believe our ancestors were capable of advanced hydraulic engineering. The Impluvium d'Orves stands as a silent witness to a forgotten capability. Whether it was built 300 years ago or 5,000 years ago, it reveals a profound truth about the human condition. We have always been engineers. We have always been problem solvers. The prejudice that ancient people were not smart enough says more about our own arrogance than it does about their abilities. When we look at these massive stones, we are not just looking at a cistern. We are looking at the ambition of a people who refused to be defeated by a thirsty landscape. They did not need an empire to tell them how to survive. They only needed the stone beneath their feet and the intelligence to master the sky. Perhaps it is time we stopped looking for gods in the ruins and started recognizing the brilliant, practical minds of the people who built them.